like to provide you an illustration of how a corporation might look at the same issue. They would look at it not as a moral issue, but as an opportunity issue. And tell you a little anecdote. All these anecdotes I tell have become a little bit apocryphal, but they have an element of truth. If a bank teller loses 10,000 at the end of a day, and I want to emphasize the term loses, the bank will investigate. But their question won't be, who was the nasty person that took our $10,000 out of the drawer? That's a moral issue, that's an integrity question. And how do we improve the integrity of people? Their question would be, oh, was it possible to take $10,000 out of this drawer without any of us knowing about it? Thank you very much for taking the money, because you pinpointed a flaw in our system. This is just 10,000, but we leave that flaw unfilled, it'll be $1 million soon. So thank you very much. And we're certainly not going to fire you for doing us a favor. And in fact, firing is going to increase our loss. We lost 10,000, but if we fire you, well, we're going to have a lot of other things we're going to have to pay for. First of all, we have to replace you. So we're going to have to do an advert. Then we're going to have to train you. And who are we replacing you with? Someone who's just as crooked as the one we fired in the first place. Coming into the same set of opportunities that we had. This is a different way of framing. It compels us to look differently, but we don't find that out if we just compare police organizations. Not that comparing police organizations isn't a good thing to do, but it assumes a monopoly of policing by the police. And just a brief note on Mackey's. I think that this idea that she raises of rules and metaphors is a very important one. I just want to add to her thing by going back to an early paper by Bittner and Bailey that really got me thinking about tropes. And in this paper, an older officer is coaching a young officer, and he comes up with the line, always act as if you're on vacation. So I thought, what kind of a rule is that? What does it say? If X, do what? I mean, this is what police training is all about, isn't it? About these rules. If X, do Y. And it made me think that this is why police culture is so powerful. Because it doesn't work with rules, it works with tropes. And what I interpreted this to be saying is, you know that feeling you have when you're on vacation? Being kind of laid back and not acting too quickly. And create that state of being and do whatever you like. Because you'll do the right thing. It'll be innovative. It'll be flexible. So one of the things we try and do is we try and provide rules to counteract tropes, which is what we're talking about. We have rules about the continuum of force. This doesn't compare with metaphors and tropes. One good story will kill the whole training program. One good story. It'll cascade and it'll kill the whole training program. I don't have any answers here, but we should be thinking more about changing the stories as opposed to just changing the rules. And then one final comment, why the use of force? Well, if you're firmly located within the police node, this is the most obvious thing to do, because that is the primary means that police use to govern security. Once you get out of that, you'll find there are lots of other things people do to govern security that is not particularly force-focused. And the danger, and why I think a sectorial comparison is important, The danger of focusing on force is it doesn't tell you much about how to do other things. It just tells you not whether you'll use force, but only when and how much. And of course, we've narrowed the governance of security to the application of physical force, which is only part of the story. And so long as, to come back to the police crisis, so long as we think that's all that the governance of security is about, the police really do have a big crisis. Thank you.